We're talking about how to build a fence around your focus. This is something we all need to do because we need to protect the focus we have around our goals and what we want to achieve fiercely, because this is what is going to have us seeing success all year long. And we're going to talk today about exactly how we're going to put a strategy into place to do that. So thank you for joining me here. My name is Tanessa and I'm a life coach. I'm going to help you figure out exactly how to nail down the goals in your new year. Because if you're anything like a lot of the people I talk to, it's that time of year right now where you're losing a little bit of momentum. It's starting in the third week of January. Maybe you don't feel inspired or pulled towards your goals, or maybe you're just telling yourself you're not motivated enough. But I'm gonna let you in on a little secret, and it has to do with exactly why you struggle. And the reason I know this is because I've noticed this happening year after year after year. Last year, we sat down and we set our goals, and we were really excited. You know, it's December 31st or January 1st, and we had our goals set. And I was so excited to, launch into the new year with all of these things I wanted to do. And then we're like, okay, well, we'll check in on March 31st, so 3 months from now, so in a quarter. So we checked in and we looked at our goals, and I mean, some of them I had achieved, but there was also a whole bunch that I hadn't achieved. So I found what we ended up doing was just like, oh, I totally forgot about this goal. I'll just bump it into the next quarter. I'll work on it from April to June. And so, we'd get to work and get a little excited again, and then we'd kind of go along, and then all of a sudden we found it was June 30th, and we were like, oh, let's look at our goals again. We'd look at our goals and I'm like, oh, I completely forgot I had set half of these goals. Why wasn't I working on them? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna work on them from September to October. And I found that even checking in quarterly, I kept bumping my goals from one quarter to the next because I'd completely forget about them. And the reason we were forgetting about them was just getting so frustrating. And so that's why I discovered, you know what? I need to intentionally focus regularly on what I want to achieve and the goals I want to achieve. What does that look like? If I want to stay in action and achieve my goals, if I want to do that all year long, well, it's gonna mean I'm gonna have to focus a lot more. So we came up with this strategy after, sitting December 31st being like, I forgot about half of the goals I set last year, and there's something we can do about that. So what I'm gonna teach you today is the 4-pillar system that I have put in place. I put in place with my clients, and we do effectively now to make sure that we stay in action all year long towards what we said we wanted on January 1st. So I'm gonna give you a 4-pillar system. I like to think of it like this. Like if you picture your backyard and a fence that goes all the way around, there are gonna be 4 fence posts. There's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, and a fence that connects it. So we're gonna be setting up the foundation of how to build a fence around your focus so we can be fiercely protective of the intentions and the energy that we give towards our goals all year. So we're gonna jump into our 4-step how. Step number 1 is when you're building fence post number 1, you need to set very specific goals. And I call this there's 2 do's that you need to set. Number 1 is exactly tell me what you're going to do. I'm going to make $5,000 a month. I'm gonna work out 4 times per week. I am going to eat a salad every single day for lunch. That is your do, but I also want you to tell me when is your due date. I want to be making $5,000 a month by March 30th. I want to be exercising 4 times a week by January 31st. I want you to have not only what you're going to do specifically, but when the due date is. So pillar number 1 is you need to set very specific outcomes. Pillar number 2, after you've set what you wanted to achieve, you need to keep it visible. Setting goals and checking in, at the halfway point through the year, or as we have found, even the quarterly point is not enough. It is not enough focus. It is not enough attention. If the whole goal of building this fence is to keep your focus high, right? Because that's why we achieve so much in the beginning of the year, because we're thinking about our goals. We're focused on what we want to achieve. It's at the top of our mind. So step number 2 in keeping it visible is it is our job to keep our goals at the top of our mind. So you can do this on a computer or a phone or whatever like that, but the only problem I find with doing it on technology only is that it disappears. You don't see it unless it's on your desktop every day. So in addition to, me making my favorite kind of thing, my fancy Trello board and my checklists of my goals, I actually printed it out on paper, like the old school way with check boxes. And I printed it out, and what I've done is there's a cupboard right behind me here that I keep a lot of my, office tech, my printer, my papers, pens, all that kind of stuff. I keep it in there. And every single day that I come to sit down to go to work, I open up my cupboard, and the first thing I see is a giant list of all of the goals I have set for myself. And it is my job that I need to look at that every single day. Now, this might mean you write them on your bathroom mirror. This might mean you put a copy of them in your shower. Wherever can keep it visible for you. This needs to be something you are checking in with at least once a day. Whether that be, it's on your bedside table and you read through your goals in the morning and before you go to sleep. It is your job to keep it top of mind. This is what keeps us focused on what we said we wanted to do. And that focus is what keeps us in action all year long. So we have fence post 1, specific goals. Fence post 2, you need to keep it very visible. The third fence post is going to be that you need to do regular progress updates. Now, the mistake we made, if we went back to that example and the story I gave in the beginning, was that we were only checking in every 3 months. We'd forget about what we were focusing on. We'd shuffle it off to the next 3 months. Now, I don't want that to happen for you. So what I suggest is that you make a weekly appointment with yourself, with your accountability partner, with your coach, with your husband, with your partner, whoever you have in your life that will hold you accountable fiercely. And I don't mean be like, oh, well, next week you can do it. I mean somebody that's like, hey, what's going on? Why didn't you do this? I want you to set an appointment. That can be you too, yourself. Set an appointment with them at a minimum of once a week. One time a week where you are going to sit down and you are going to look at everything that happened for the week. What did you get done? What did you not get done? That is also the time where you say, okay, if I'm looking 1 week into the future, what do I know I can get done now that will help move me forward on that list of goals that I am looking at every single day? So what my husband and I have implemented is every Sunday night at approximately 5 p.m., just give or take what's going on that day, we sit down for an hour, and what we do is we say, hey, all those mini goals and steps you set last week, what did you get done? What didn't you get done? And what are you going to do next week? What tasks need to happen this week in order for the next week to be successful? How can we set this week up? What's going on with the schedule? This has been so effective. I feel like a productivity ninja. I am moving faster towards my goals than I ever thought possible, despite being 38 weeks pregnant right now. There is so many fun things happening, and that is because we are regularly getting updated on the progress towards these goals. So the last and final pillar of building that kind of fence around your focus so that you can stay in action all year long is that you need to learn how to self-correct. So as part of this weekly progress check-in, I always like to ask myself 3 questions, and I learned this from my business coach. We learned to ask, what worked well from the last week? Did I schedule enough things? Did I choose enough tasks? What worked well? What was successful? What was the feedback I got? What didn't work well? And what am I going to do differently next week? So this process of self-correcting and being able to identify what you are doing that's moving you forward, what is stalling you, what is holding you back, is going to be exceptional in helping you achieve your goals. And if we put all these into play, one of the things that I've learned recently this year is, if you've been following along with the goals, is my husband and I have set a goal to launch a second product on Amazon by May 31st, 2020. So we have been setting up baby goals. We needed to watch a couple videos from a course, we needed to do a little research on YouTube, and we needed to put some actual physical time in researching different products. But what we found was that we had set that up for Tuesday night for 2 hours and Thursday night for 2 hours. But when he got home from work, and because I'm working from home, we'd have dinner and we'd be like, let's just sit down and watch Grey's Anatomy, because we're really into Grey's Anatomy right now. We're in the beginning of season 3, so we got a long way to go, but we sat down and we watched an episode of Grey's Anatomy, and that kind of turned into 2, and then it was like, it's 8:30, are we really gonna do this now? So when we did our weekly progress check-in and figured out what didn't work, we realized that when he gets home and I stop working here and we meet, we need to make sure that we are not indulging in Netflix, because what that does is it turns our brain off. We need to get our product research done first, and then we can watch Grey's Anatomy. That way we can do both. We're not saying don't watch TV. It was just a prioritization thing that was throwing us completely out of whack. But had we not known exactly what we needed to do, checked on it that day, and had we not, had our progress update and self-corrected, this could have gone on for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we would have just been behind the 8 ball. But now we've learned 2 weeks in, when he gets home, it's dinner and right to work, and then we can relax after. And this was super key. Like, another example is with a lot of my clients at this point of the year, we've been working on a concept called wanting what we already have, which is a kind of unique thing. So like, think about the house you live in right now. Was this a house that at some point, even though you might want a bigger house now or another bedroom, was this a house right now that you at some point really wanted to have? Like, think about it when you were living at home with your parents or wherever you were. Think about, is this house something you would always have wanted? Would the old you have been so proud of where you're living right now? Right? Would you have been excited to know that this was where you were going to live? And we often do stuff like that, but I've been teaching my clients how to want what they already have. So if that's the goal we're working on over the month of January, my job as the coach is to go in and check in on them every week. And sometimes during the week, how's that list coming along? What have you done to put this in action? Have you been intentional with your time? Are we going to show up again with a shift at our next call, so we're not always talking about implementing the same things? But it's because my clients and I, we set up a very specific outcome. We make sure that it is visible. So I'm, on their dashboard with my clients and making sure they're checking in and they're seeing it. We're looking at progress updates every week. And on top of that, we're like, hey, what worked? What didn't work? What did we learn differently? Every single week, that process is what helps them move forward. And so I teach them that process. The same 4-step fence building system, the 4 pillars that I just taught you now. So I hope that has been exceptionally helpful. Now, you have these 4 pillars, right? And you're going to build that fence around your focus, which is absolutely fantastic, right? But sometimes we're wondering, well, why can't I just stay committed? I really like these ideas and I get going good, but then I always fall off track. I've created a completely free guide that will really help you out with this. It's called the Commitment Code. It basically teaches you how to make decisions faster so that you can start living in breakthrough, that feeling of having that shift where everything just locks into place. And it's 3 strategies that I work with one-on-one with my clients, and I'm sharing it in a free guide that you can download at TanessaShears.com/code. It's completely free. It is a completely comprehensive guide that will help you learn how to stay consistent and committed with whatever goal. It is the best resource I've created in a long time. I would love for you to go get your hands on that. TanessaShears.com/code. I hope that has been helpful. I want you to build a fence around your focus so that you can constantly be checking in with what you want to achieve and you can stay in action all year long. Have a beautiful week. I will talk to you next time. Bye.